Oh, they are. I mean, like I said, my oldest. But all I ever told my kids, man, because I said I didn't graduate high school, man. I made it to the eighth grade. You know what I mean? I never went to high school. I don't know
Mm,
what it's like to be in high school. Um, but I didn't want to accept failure, right?
mm,
So when I had my kids, I told my daughters like this. I was like, look, when you turn 18, there's not much I can do to tell you how to live your life
mm,
because you're already an adult. All I want to be able to do is when people walk in my house, I want them to see diplomas hanging on my wall.
mm.
That's all I want. If you don't go to college, that's fine. I said, my responsibility is to help create you
Yeah.
and help you to pre-adulthood.
Mm.
After that is your choice. So, I mean, you walk into my house right now, man, I got 4 diplomas on the wall.
Wow.
Two of my daughters are entrepreneurs. One has her nail salon that she's been doing. I mean, she's doing wonderful things with that.
Mm.
My other daughter moved to Colorado. She's a beautician. She got her license to do that. Um, I got my one of my 21-year-olds is going to school to be a traveling nurse dermatologist.
Oh, wow.
And then my oldest, well, she just, she graduated and she's like, Dad, she goes, I want to be a mom. I want to be a wife. And
Wow.
so she got married. Her and my son-in-law doing great things. They got their own family. You know what I mean? I got 6 grandkids. You know,
Mm.
so
Wow, man, that's a
yeah,
blessing.
yeah. So
Wow.
it's good.
So, we're talking about boxing. Now we're going to barbecue. Was barbecue, was it a family thing or did you pick it up later?
We
Uh,
always barbecued. My dad. It was not something in the beginning when I was younger that it was something that
yeah.
I enjoyed like doing. But my dad, I mean, I watched my dad, uncles, do it.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't till about 20 years ago that
Yeah.
I kind of just like, man, you know what I mean?
Got into it
Well, because I
somehow.
would see some of my friends, they have their homes and they got a barbecue pit. I was like, I mean, I'm pretty good at learning something and taking off with it. You know what I mean? So I was like, so, you know what I mean? I bought my first barbecue pit and, burnt a lot of meat. You know what I mean? Because,
It's
you know what I
like
mean? The only way,
it's like Texas culture, I think.
yeah,
Like
oh, yeah, for sure.
you have a house and you got to have
But
a pit somewhere.
the only way I learned this. The only way you learn how to make good barbecue is by messing up barbecue, so that you learn what not to do.
Figure out how to make the fire, all
And
that stuff.
that creating and maintaining fire
Fire.
is the only key, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, we're creatures of habit, man. I've messed up a lot. You know what I mean? I've messed
Yeah.
up a lot. You know what I mean? You forget, and now, like, you know what I mean? I've built my way of science of it to where what works for Pete when I'm cooking anything, when I'm doing fundraising, when I'm just doing private events, when I'm doing, just at the house, like, you know what I mean? Everything, there's a technique to it for me.
Right, right, right.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own, and they'll tell, hey, Peter, how do you do this? I said, look, man, I'm not going to tell you how my way is,
Mm.
but what I can tell you is that go buy you a brisket.
Hmm.
I said, and if you don't want to learn it the hard way by messing up, they got YouTube stuff. You can get on, what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff you can do now. You get on TikTok and they teach you how to make a brisket, but you can follow that and still mess up. I said, so you gotta build your pathway for it. You know what I mean? So that you create, your own legacy and, in cooking. So, I've taken, from a lot of people that I follow and I've learned barbecue from, I've took little ideas from here,
Yeah.
here, and created what works for me. Cause at the end of the day, like, not one person can say they created how to make barbecue.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Everybody learned somehow and they twisted little things here when it comes to seasoning or maybe how they smoked
Yeah.
or how they set a fire, like, everything, what I mean? Nobody ever does it the same. You know what I mean? So now, like I said, I live and breathe barbecue, man. I
Yeah.
love it.
You just told me you did like a whole bunch. How many turkey legs? I'm like,
So yesterday we did 500 turkey legs yesterday.
wow.
Started cooking at 3:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? Getting Big Bertha hot. It takes a lot of wood to get hot.
Is it easier? So is it? I guess it's easier to have like that box before the fire as opposed to having it under the grill.
So having it on the grill, that's the term that they use, grilling,
Right.
because
Okay.
you're cooking over coals.
Hmm.
Firebox is smoking the meat, right, which is off to the side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Some of them, I'm pretty sure you've heard the term, offset smokers,
Hmm.
reverse smokers,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, it's, I, I'm more of a smoke guy. Like I like to smoke my
So
meats.
so there's a
you know what I mean?
debate right there.
Yeah,
I
there's
can
always
see.
a debate. You know what I mean? There's always some people. There's some people that can grill phenomenal. Like I mean, I know some guys that can cook over coals 10 times better than I can.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when it comes to smoking, you know what I mean. I've mastered my way. You know what I
Nice.
mean? And it's worked out because, you know what I mean? You know, people come back and they're like, hey, Pete, can you cook for me? Hey, can you cook a brisket for me? Can you cook some leg quarters? Can you
Yeah.
cook turkey legs? You know, can you cook some pork butts? You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's worked out well, you know what I mean? And, you know, and it's just like anything you do. I mean, even like in your podcasting, right? You know what I mean? You're learning something new about a podcast that could help elevate your way of how you do podcasts. It's the same thing in
Like a
barbecue.
craft, like a craft, or
Yeah.
honing in your craft.
Yeah,
or
you know what I'm saying?
something
Or
like
you,
that.
you may have seen an idea from somebody on the other side of the country. They're like, man, what if I implement that here?
Mhm.
I mean, you know, how would the response be of people? Well, you got to
Yeah.
try it in order to find out.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. Like, you know, when I started doing when I had my barbecue store on here in Corpus, you know, everybody was like, "Oh man, you got to go to San Antonio to get a stuffed turkey leg. You got to go to Houston. You got to go here."
Wow.
So my mentality was like, what can I do to keep them people here instead of driving all the way 4 hours to
Oh,
go
wow.
get a $30, turkey leg?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I did is that, I figured out my way of understanding how I can make it not their way, but my way that's still going to be delicious and good.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did, you know what I mean? And, it was good, creating sandwiches. That's a good thing about a kitchen, man. It's all creativity.